Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the Superstars of Wrestling review series. The 12th of December, 1992 is where we are. Nasty Boys and the Brooklyn Brawler and John Reckner, otherwise known later as Balls Mahoney, Boo Bradley, and the like. Interesting that literally he's in ECW probably within about 96 in Smoky Mountain, I think, within 2 years here. Obviously, the Brawler, the more known to WWF talent at the time, or fans at the time, having been around since about 83, 84, getting a push in 89. Nasty Boys are baby faces officially now, after their turn less than 2 months earlier. Knobs pretty aggressive. What's interesting is their style really doesn't change that much. I think they accent the pit stop a little more. Jerry Sags uses the pump handle slam a little more aggressively, assertively. Rector actually looks to be the size of Sags, or close to it. He takes the Pity City stop, etc. and so forth. Just really interesting to me there that that's the direction things go in. Nasty Boys, of course, still on the trail of Money Incorporated, among other things. We see a Bulldog modified and a top rope elbow drop by Jerry Sags, getting the win for the Nasty Boys. Discussion early of the Royal Rumble is up next. Royal Rumble, end of January. Interesting that it's promoted by Update, which is promoted by a magazine with the Undertaker and Nails on it, face to face, obviously from a few weeks ago. Interesting also, too, the announcement of Razor Ramon against Bret Hart. When you consider that Razor came in, I think officially his first match was in September or October. So 4 months later, he's challenging for the World Championship. Highlights of the Royal Rumble from 1991 are here, or maybe 91. Hulk Hogan in the situation. Also highlights from 92. So they're really trying to hype the Rumble as a major event. Consider that the Royal Rumble at this point, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, only in its sixth year going into 93. So now it's a staple and everybody knows what it is. That 93 is the first time that the winner would go on to face the WWF champion, whoever that may be. So that's interesting. Of course, the year before, the championship was decided in the Rumble, but here the winner of the Rumble would be the number one contender, which is something they've used just about every year since. So, I mean, whoever came up with that idea, big deal, is a big deal. We move to a Bam Bam Bigelow match. Bam Bam against John Paul. Paul gets a little bit of offense, including but not limited to some punches, a drop kick. Bigelow catches the man on a cross body and spins around like he's, going for $1 million. Goes there and bang, bang, bang. Some shots. Doink on the outside. And I call him Doink just because we know that's his eventual name. I don't know that he's been named yet. Drinking a fan's drink. And then we see Doink managing to interfere with Bam Bam Bigelow after his match, saying he's going to throw a bucket at him. Interesting that they're doing it with Bam Bam Bigelow here. And there's confetti. Bigelow's less than happy. Bigelow, of course, winning with the top rope headbutt. What's interesting is when they turned Doink in late 93, so within 8 or 9 months, Bigelow and Doink are, in fact, adversaries going into WrestleMania 10. It's just interesting that they're having these two interact literally months before they even go anywhere with it. So we move towards Bam Bam Bigelow and John Paul being over. Big Boss Man and Money Incorporated in the event center here. Certainly pretty basic. Bigelow kind of talking, or Boss Man talking a little bit about Bigelow. Money Incorporated talking about being the tag team champions. Not really having direct challengers. Of course, in the month of January, we start to hear them talk about the Steiners because the Steiners are here. Steiners get majorly pushed, not right off, but pretty quickly by the summer of that year. So a couple of months in, and they're pushed really strongly. Reverend Slick gives a message of hope to everybody who's willing to listen. Basically talks about no one being beyond the reach of love and positivity. Really sanitized sermon-like thing in about 30 to 60 seconds. Anyway, Marty Jannetty and Dwayne Gill. Up next, of course, Gill, later known as Gillberg in 98 or so. Marty Jannetty only been back for a couple of months, if that, and they're trying to get him back over a little bit, head scissors and such. Shawn Michaels basically ignoring Sherry in the inset, talking about being one of the greatest Intercontinental Champions of all time, talking about how great he is, really putting himself over like $1 million, as you would expect Shawn Michaels to do. Meanwhile, amazingly, ground wrestling, which not a lot of people know this, but Marty Jannetty having a collegiate style wrestling background a little bit. Jannetty dealing with the acknowledgement of Don't Get Ringside, doesn't really acknowledge him, but manages to take a glance at him here and there. Meanwhile, Dwayne Gill, with some real basic moves, Irish whips and the like, manages to splash himself into the corner. Does Gill, and Jannetty tries to tip him up and over. Doink manages to walk away from the ringside area after being there. Not really sure why he's there unless they're trying to go somewhere with it, which obviously they end up, but it's just interesting there. Top rope fist drop from Jannetty. 1, 2, 3 on the victory. Nails versus Mike Collins is up next. Obviously, Nails moving towards the Undertaker ever so slowly. They never get there, but at least I don't know that they ever did any real battle. I know they didn't on television. They might have at some house shows, maybe not. Not really sure there, but chokes and the like by Nails. Nails, again, not known for being a super combatant, managing to choke and kick his man pretty well unconscious, actually, during the first several minutes of the match. And small children still scared of Nails. Basically, Nails insinuating that he's scared of nothing. Then we move to an interview with Bret Hart. Bret Hart basically saying he will take on all comers. That's the whole idea of the Bret Hart title reign here, especially in 92. His run through WrestleMania 9 is my favorite of his 4 or 5 championship runs, believe it or not, because he was the most notable champion, taking on everybody from Papa Shango to Virgil to the Berserker and the like. Admits to, wanting to take out Ric Flair, admits to wanting to go in the direction of everything. Bobby Heenan comes out, basically says he can't beat Flair again. Flair comes out, says he's going to beat Hart one more time, be a 3-time champion. Bret isn't even half the man he is. The insinuation is there. Bobby Heenan continues to be beside and behind Ric Flair in inciting him. Bret Hart manages to go face-to-face with Razor Ramon. Razor Ramon says the Hitman isn't anything. He knows a lot about hits, man. No pun intended. Well, maybe pun intended. Razor says he's going to carve him up at the Royal Rumble, and the insinuation is there. So actually, they haven't even done the angle when they, went in the direction of that, and Bret gets jumped out. Mr. Perfect makes the save. Perfect, is up and manages to help Bret Hart send Flair and Razor to the floor. Obviously, around the horn, they're going to do some Hart and Perfect matches. Gus Cantankerous versus Lance Cassidy. Cassidy still here, although he doesn't go terribly much further. I think he's gone by before WrestleMania, I'm pretty sure. But Cassidy does a lot of traditionalized wrestling and, body slams, drop kicks, and really basic stuff. Gus is on the receiving end of some arm bars and really basic things here as well. The fans, at least visually, seem to be behind Cassidy. Not quite sure why the gimmick didn't work out. Actually, I'm a fan of the Lance Cassidy had forgotten he was even here type thing. But he manages to get a victory there. Top rope maneuver, and Cassidy gets a 1-2-3. Then we go to a Make-A-Wish Planet Hollywood fundraiser, basically WWF all the way back to 1992 here, and I think this isn't the first time, but we see everybody from Bobby Heenan to Ric Flair to various other dignitaries, Shawn Michaels, and everybody kind of walking into the Make-A-Wish situation. Love the fact that they blended baby faces and heels if needed here for the sake of the kids. Still love the fact they do all that work today. Props to John Cena and everyone else who's granted wishes to Make-A-Wish Kids, because Make-A-Wish Kids is where my heart is as far as charities are concerned. I care what they do with the money, but at the same time, as long as some of it goes to the kids, I'm good with that. Undertaker and Barry Horowitz is up next. Obviously, this is not going to be Horowitz's shining moment. He's had many, but not very competitive with The Undertaker, nor should he be. We kind of then move towards The Undertaker and Horowitz going heads up with each other. Horowitz tries to hit a few shots on The Undertaker and does a lot of backing off, as one would expect. Undertaker at this point still amazingly convincing with just body language. Undertaker does the rope walk, does the punches, kicks, and really basic stuff. We pumped the WWF magazine with the Nails and Undertaker photo again, so they were definitely going with that choke slam on Horowitz, and Undertaker gets a victory here. We go to the event center with Papa Shango. Papa Shango talks about still having voodoo power over just about anybody. Still kind of hinting at the idea of Bret Hart, and but kind of directionless. Promises to put curses on anybody in the World Wrestling Federation he sees fit. Max Moon up next. Moon talks about needing the help of the fans to get where he needs to be. He's got a really interesting voice. I'm not even sure before watching this that I remember offhand Max Moon doing a promo. The Beverly Brothers are here to close. They basically talk about being the best tag team in the area. They are no longer flanked by the Genius. One of them has dyed their hair a little darker than normal. Royal Rumble participants announced. Bret Hart closes as the champion with a promo, and he says he's going to get Razor Ramon, take him down, and teach him a lesson at the Royal Rumble as we close this week's edition of Superstars. And we'll be back with more right after this.